sleeping till Hollywood, Hollywood. We ain't sleeping.
Hello. I am Caleb McDonald,
And it's your girl, Gaelyn Smith.
and this is the No Sleep Till Hollywood podcast. We're not sleeping until we make it in Hollywood, and while we're up, we will be discussing the state of the industry and our place in it.
We're back. You guys, it is season 2. We are very, very excited to be back. Sorry that it took us so long to come back, but we had to get some things together. We got a new logo / artwork. We got a new theme song. We have a new producer. So, we have a lot of new stuff going on. So, we had to get it together for you guys because we couldn't come back raggedy. We had to come back, next version, better version of what we have been. Okay. Had to get back like Franklin Saint needs to re-up on his product. Okay. But you guys, as the No Sleep to Hollywood podcast, discussing important things going on in the entertainment industry, we would be remiss if we didn't start season 2 with some possibly, unfortunate news for audience members, but hopefully some good news for writers and the rest of, the artists that work to make your favorite TV shows and movies happen. We do have to start with the 2023 WGA strike, but before we talk about what's going on now, we have to get into what has previously happened. So let's take you all the way back to 2007.
Picture it. It's 2007, and you've had a long and difficult day. You were late to work, your partner left you, and you have a ringing headache. All you want to do is sit down with a glass of wine or vodka and see what's next for Joan, Maya, and Lynn. Run around LA being foolish. Or watch the Dillon Panthers win the game. You turn to the channel, sit down, and relax.
But when the episode comes on, you realize that you've seen this episode before. You flip to another channel, and when you see the same thing, an episode from last week, you realize the TV is only airing reruns. Where's the new episode? What's going on with the plot? Well, it wasn't written.
Across the country, the staff writer on your favorite show is working as a server, or a bartender, or a barista. They have so much talent. They wrote your favorite episode of the show, but they didn't get a script fee, and the rent isn't going to pay itself.
The staff writer's phone rings. It's his showrunner, so he answers, "Hello." The guy says, "Hey, the WGA is striking, so don't worry about coming into work tomorrow."
The Writers Guild of America, or the WGA, went on strike in 2007 because the writers weren't being treated fairly. With the changing industry, writers had to be fairly compensated. With home videos, digital media, and other new ways to watch, come new ways to pay writers. Studios know how to pay writers based on the direct TV theater sales, but let's be honest, where they can save money, they will save money, even if that means being the greedy villain in Hollywood. After all, who knows if this streaming thing will work?
Now, 16 years later, we find ourselves on the verge of another strike. Thankfully, Abbott Elementary's finale has already aired, so we don't have to worry about missing that episode. But the WGA's contract is up with all major studios, and the renegotiations are, tricky to say the least. If they don't agree on terms by May 1st, the day the current 3-year contract expires, we are looking at another strike that could go on for God knows how long.
A whopping 98.75% of the Writers Guild voted yes to authorizing a strike if the terms aren't agreed to by May 1st. What are the demands this time?
Pay up. Just like in 2007 with the issues of writers being skimped because of home video profits, due to the new business of streaming, the writers aren't being paid proportionate residuals that they deserve.
Residuals are a quarterly payment of the revenue made by media when aired by the company to the writers. Considering that there are some popular shows that get streamed again and again, there's no reason why a writer should be getting paid pennies for an episode.
And considering that it's cheaper to put an episode on streaming than it is to re-air episodes on TV, studios are choosing the cheap option because, once again, if they can save money, they will save money.
And the penny pinching happens in a number of ways. Sometimes two writers are paired together as writing partners on paper so the network can split one salary in half. These two writers don't even have to know each other.
And have you noticed that your favorite TV show seasons are becoming shorter and shorter? That's because shorter seasons mean less episodes, which means less time to pay the writers. This means that our favorite staff writer has to work on multiple shows in one year or have a number of side hustles to afford to pay their rent.
The smaller rooms are also frequently taken advantage of by networks looking to have a room write a few episodes before committing to the season.
And then, not to mention that because studios want to save money, the shows are written before any filming takes place, leaving only the showrunner and producers to fix anything during production, which prevents lower level writers from being able to learn how to produce episodes for television by visiting set when their episode is filming.
So, our favorite staff writer will now be waiting tables for the foreseeable future. The AMTP will probably start training AI to write perfect scripts, and you, dear audience member, will want to invest in some comfortable headphones for all your podcast listening.
And you guys, that brings us to where we are right now. So let's talk a little bit more. We had the lovely story. And now let's have a little bit more of a discussion about what's going on. So the WGA stands for the Writers Guild of America. It is the union that represents television writers. On April 17th, they announced that an overwhelming majority of its members, 97.85%, voted to authorize a strike if no deal is reached by the May 1st deadline. Writers are basically asking for studios for a deal that allows them for better compensation, higher residual minimums. Basically, writers want to be compensated so that way they can have one job, which is writing, and not have to write for like 87 shows in one year, and really just be able to give their time and attention to their craft on one show and be able to pay their bills the same way that our doctors and lawyers and teachers dedicate their time to that job, and that is how they are paying their bills. Well, maybe not our teachers. Teachers also have multiple jobs too.
Pay our teachers. The
Correct.
Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, that is the trade association that represents Hollywood studios and big streamers like Netflix and Disney. They said their focus is on the long-term health and stability of the industry. That's their main priority. They've cited economic troubles. Essentially, they're in talks to form a new contract. It doesn't seem like they'll reach an amicable agreement before the current contract expires, so most people are expecting a strike to happen.
So, like we said, happening on May 1st, the 3-year contract between the WGA and the AMPTP expires. So, that is when the strike would go into place, and that is why the strike is going into place. Who does it impact? Well, obviously, it's going to impact the writers. If they strike, they will not be working on any projects until an agreement is settled on. So, this basically means that writers are going to be on not a summer vacation in like a good way, but like they will not be making money this summer and possibly into the fall because they will be on the picket lines. They will be advocating for the rights of current WGA members as well as incoming WGA members. It impacts the writers who are aspiring to enter into the industry. Right now is a time that networks and studios they have projects, they have things that they've committed to for this year that they're still trying to get done. This is a time that people are liable to scab. Scabbing, for people who don't necessarily have union understandings, is when the union that is representing the trade that we're talking about is striking. People who are not in the union will go and take work. Obviously, this is bad in any context, but specifically in the WGA, if you take scab work, you will not be able to join the WGA, which means you may not be able to benefit in the things that the WGA wins for you. And you might honestly like blacklist your whole career. So scabbing, not really seeming like the move, even though, yes, you might get paid now. It may impact your ability to get paid and build a career later.
And obviously, the studios are going to be impacted because if there are no writers, that means no new projects. If the strike holds out long enough, that they're going to be at a standstill, which is what we want because the writers are that important. And that's the point of this strike. Like, how are you going to have your important, really engineers, the blueprints for every project that you have and not pay them adequately? Productions will halt. Late night shows will be impacted first because we're looking at like a daily episode here. So immediately our favorite hosts are gonna be stuck. They're gonna be pulling
We're
stuff
going to
out of
start
their
to
own.
learn who can really write. That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna learn, like, if your writers go home and it's just you, friend, like, we gonna learn, is you just funny because other people write for you, or are you funny because you have some talent and just use writers to supplement? So that'll be one of the first things that we see, definitely.
Right. And then we'll also be looking at broadcast shows that will likely air the rest of the season if their finales have already been written and filmed, but if not, well then we are looking at a possible hiatus on your favorite season. So
Or
don't get
you're
too invested.
or you're looking at a possible girlfriends. You know, we left that girlfriends 2007 and we never heard from them again. Because the other thing is, for all these shows that go on hiatus and don't finish their seasons, the networks don't have to pick them up if everything resumes. Like, they don't have to. And so we'll never know. Joan finally found that man, and we'll never see Joan walk down the aisle, child. Mm-mm-mm.
And just like we did see in the 2007 strike, we may see an uptick of unscripted or reality content, because you don't need writers for that. You just need some messy people who are willing to be on camera. That's
Just a couple producers and a dream. And I want to point out that the 2007 writer's strike was 100 days. It is not the longest writer's strike in history, but 100 days is a really long time. And what people aren't understanding is that for the 100 days of the strike, you then have to push back everything. So it's not just that your favorite show, is going to come on later. If your favorite show has a season 3 or 4 or whatever, and they haven't written it before the strike, they have until after the strike ends, they will not be writing it. And then when the strike ends, networks are going to have to, like, bring all of their shows back super quickly, but it's still going to take you a long time. So if you got a favorite show, it might be a year or two until you get your next season. So this is definitely the time to figure out what other shows you want to watch and binge things. At the end, we'll talk about some suggestions for binging, but it's going to give binge girl summer. Okay. What is at stake? Obviously, the most important thing, the livelihood of writers. It is becoming increasingly hard to sustain a career as a TV writer. Seasons have gotten shorter. So we used to have 20 and 22 episode seasons, like when you watch The Fresh Prince or A Different World. Now we have 8 to 10. Think of Euphoria. Think of Insecure. Think of, shows that we love, that we always say we want more seasons of. Networks aren't funding them because they are expensive. In the older payment model, whenever a show aired or re-aired an episode, because they were mostly making their money from ad revenue, a small percentage of that was then shared amongst all of the people who had something to do with building that episode. Now, because of streaming, I can watch, as long as it's up there on the cloud, the app, the whatever the thing is called. I can watch whatever I want to watch whenever I want to watch it. And since most of the time we're not paying, we're paying for to not have commercials, there is no ad revenue. And therefore, it's no longer about residuals. It's more that writers and actors and directors and people are getting paid an upfront fee that doesn't really change. So now a lot of writers, when they are getting checks for residuals, they are legitimately pennies. People have been paid as low as a few cents. They've been paid as high as a couple dollars, but they're not really making money. And as much as we want to think Hollywood is glamorous, everybody not driving a Lamborghini to work. That's probably just your lead actor and your high paid executive producer. Everybody else, they probably driving like a regular car. It might be nice, but it's a regular car.
or Uber a lot,
Right. Or Ubering a lot.
And also, like we said, this is not the first time that this happened. The longest strike in 1988 was 153 days,
Mm.
and it cost the industry some money.
All
We're
right.
looking at costing the industry $500 million, and it cost the LA economy $1.5 billion. With with the what's it called, Galen? What's it called, Galen? When money does that oh, inflation. There we go.
Uh,
With inflation, do you know how much money that's going to be?
hey, you were like, what's it called again? I was like, you didn't start talking, so I won't know what it is till you say something.
Yeah, no, I had no
No,
idea, but we got it. We got it. We came around.
with inflation, that number is going to be crazy. It's probably like $5 billion.
Right. Like we're looking at another war if this strike goes on too long.
Hey yo, Beyonce can't even give us the money to fix that one. Like, hey yo, she like y'all want how much?
Mm.
Get somebody else to do it.
We're looking at another we're looking at another duet with all the stars, all the celebrities.
Yo, remember when I wonder, I didn't look this up before the episode, but I was wondering, like, remember when there were those movies like Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, that just were like different vignettes that had every celebrity that ever existed?
Yeah,
Did that trend start after the writer strike? Like, where was everybody trying to just make their money real quick from them hundred and something days that they was out of work? Because those
that's
movies
actually a
were
great question.
ridiculous. But obviously, Caleb, as folks who are entering the industry, we are not WGA at this moment. So we are not necessarily striking, but these are things that will impact us. Why why do you feel like the strike is important to you, and why do you think that it was important for us to use this platform to talk about it?
Well, personally, I love writing. That's one. I love writing. So, I am a person who would say I could write for free. That being
Right.
said, writing is a career.
Right.
It should be a career. And so to know that the people who are responsible for everyone else's job aren't just getting underpaid, but are being like unfairly
Yeah.
underpaid is actually kind of ludicrous. And also, just like thinking of myself in the career, would I be able to write 100 episodes a year for 500 different shows? Maybe. I mean,
I mean,
I
there
am
is a
talented.
particular person who does do that, but they're also anti-union. So
Yeah, we're not going to talk about them. Mm.
if
But
you know, you know. If you don't, oh well.
right. But I will say, like, it does hurt because I know the quality of the television, the quality of the things being written would not be nearly as much if we were paid adequately for the projects that we sign on to. And that's what hurts me the most, the quality of art.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it's just one of those things where it's like there are so many other professions in America that, like, particularly both of us as film school graduates, like there are so many other majors that we had that if we had gone to school, you having your undergrad, me having my undergrad and my master's, like if we had gone and gotten these degrees and other things, we would be making certain amounts of money right now. Like we would literally not be able to look at jobs that weren't paying you a minimum of like $75,000 a year, right? Like versus
yeah,
now, you and I are both in positions where it's like we not really working the thing that we want to do. We're kind of around it. We're near it. We're making our way through it. We haven't seen you guys all year yet, but it's like so many things are happening. But it's like I've been working as an actor a lot, but not on TV. But I'm grateful for the stuff that I've gotten. Caleb, I know you're doing like COVID safety stuff right now for set. So it's like you're on set, you're part of a production, but we're not writing. I'm not starring in a show. You and I aren't starring in shows and things like that, but like we're building this career. But it's this like idea that so many other people go to school or don't, but they learn the skill and they're adequately paid for the thing that they do. Whereas TV writers they're paid almost as an afterthought in this weird way. Like you can't make a TV show or a movie without the work that these writers do. And yet they get paid less than directors. They get paid less than actors. They get paid less than producers. Like they're getting paid the least. However, their work at their computer or at their typewriter or whatever you use to write your scripts is what spawns tens of thousands of jobs a year. And they get paid as a last minute thing. And I think it's unfair. And I think that's
yeah,
why for me, I'm like, we as the newer generation and the generation that's working to come into this space, especially as people who have, a platform, I think it's really important that we share that with people because there are so many people who, are just mad. They're hearing, oh, they striking. My favorite show not coming on. And it's like, yeah, but it's not coming on because people are not being paid well. And like we have to, the quality of art has to be important, but the quality of life of artists also has to be important.
Yeah. No, quality of life in any profession, which unfortunately capitalism do be crushing the soul out of some human beings. But no, the quality of life is for sure the most important issue
Yeah,
when it comes to the strike.
it's just kind of wild, and I think
And
like, yeah, people, all the folks who are out there who are actually striking, like, because at the end of the day, like, it's not taking money out of my pocket because
right.
that wasn't money that was going to my pocket, versus like these are people who are giving up income in Los Angeles, largely. Like, shout out to y'all. Shout out to people that are really making it happen, making it do what it do. And it's just crazy that the intellectual property is the currency of Hollywood, and yet the studios are the people making the profits for it. It is very, very wild.
No, because that just made me think if they were going to use AI, they could use it on their ever building worlds that they already have. Like why is Harry Potter getting 10? Yo, look,
Yo, they're going to do 7 seasons at what, 10 episodes each of something we already got 8 movies about?
like Friends. Whew, Friends is a whole conversation, which we will have.
Friends is a
But
whole episode that's already, the outline is written. The outline is written. Okay.
500 million just to stream that show. You know how many other shows could have been created?
Baby, you know how many shows got canceled that should not have been? Or taken off streaming forever? Like, it is a wild time. But since we are on the precipice of a strike, I don't know. It's April 24th when we're recording this. You guys will hear it on Friday, which I think is April 29th, I believe. So that'll be a few days before the strike. But as of the time that we're recording this, it is not looking like there is a deal to be made amicably, at least at this moment. And so, I'm telling everybody, you're going to have to start binge watching TV shows. And Caleb, let's kind of talk about it. What are some of your favorite television shows that either have very few episodes and people should just see and they should just haven't been seen yet? Or what are your favorite shows that got like 4, 5, 6 seasons in case, we're sitting here for 200 days without television?
I mean, listen. I myself love me some chaos, okay?
Some
So
chaos.
that being said, the recommendations I have are not for the weak-hearted. I will say
Lord.
they're very gory, probably sexual.
Gory?
Just putting this out there. Yeah, gory.
You watch
You know what I'm
violent
talking about?
television?
Oh, I love violent television.
But I'm gonna get to my recommendation when it's my time. But you don't want to watch my recommendation. But you like violent.
Violent television is romantic.
You're not about to get us canceled like David Cho on this bitch. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. One recommendation I do have is Dexter. Dexter.
Oh, I haven't watched Dexter.
Dexter is a great show, but that show is gory. It is about a sociopath who kills for good. He
Okay.
only kills serial killers.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I could get into that.
and
It
I'm
works.
not gonna lie. For me as a kid, that was the most humane show I had ever watched. I'm not going to talk about how much I connected, but it's just an exploration of the human psyche in all the individuals of the show, not just the serial killer.
Oh my gosh, we should do an episode about television shows about serial killers.
Yes, I'd much rather talk about fictional serial killers
Because like I
over.
don't know about, I haven't seen Dexter, but I watched Swarm, and that just makes me think of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's an interesting. Anyway, go back to your recommendations. But yes, we should do that.
So Dexter's a great show. I will say my favorite show. Ooh, 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 you want to talk about humanity?
Oh Lord,
Shameless.
Shameless.
Shameless is that show for me.
Shameless.
Shameless is a show about a dysfunctional family in Chicago, and yo, they have every single social matter just piling on top of them. Except they are white. It is a white family, but they have a sister in the they have a sister as a neighbor, and yo, that whole her couple, her and her man, they're the cutest. They're my favorite TV couple. I
Oh,
will say, Veronica, yeah,
you
yeah.
said they were
But
white
that show,
people, and it made me think of that tweet that was been like going around the last week, where it's like, they were talking about Succession. And they were like, only a show with white people could feature nobody who's hot. I was like, damn, that's so disrespectful. That's so disrespectful. But like, listen, you watch black television, everybody fine. Okay, you be in there stressed. I can't watch All American Homecoming no more. It be stressing me out. Everybody fine on that show. They be fighting, and I don't know who to root for. I just be like, somebody win. I don't know.
not it really does become a problem when everyone's attractive and you don't know who to root for because
Love
yeah.
triangles be real stressful. You're like, well, A and B are both good options, sis.
And if C shows up, you know they're gonna be fine too. But for now, I will say Shameless,
Mm-hmm.
Dexter,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to think of a comedy.
I'm surprised you haven't said
Which one
Atlanta.
haven't I said? Atlanta?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta's a good show if you don't care for plot. You know, like if you just want something on.
Is that why I can't get into Atlanta? Like, have we cracked the problem? Is
Yeah,
it that
that there you go.
I'm missing a linear storyline of some kind?
No, because something that he did say that like it finally clicked. He said this season 4, and then I was like, this is why this show is like this. He does everything as like an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So he really shoots short films as episodes instead of episodes, and I'm like, that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It's just like, for like you said, I think it's like, for me as somebody who I like plot, like even if your plot isn't told linearly, because like I was a huge fan of Kaleidoscope that came out earlier this year. Like,
Hmm.
I don't need linear, but I need story.
Right.
And I need there, like, even if I'm watching A to B to C in A to C to B order, I still need to know that there's that. But I think maybe that's it. I mean, the writer strike is happening. I may give Atlanta a third try.
I'm telling you, even if you don't like the show, there are episodes that stand alone
And that's why
that
I
could
really want
work.
to be able to get into it. I think there are conversations that I've seen as a result of the show that I'm interested in, and the
Hmm.
way that he tells stories I'm interested in. I just, because I love Swarm. Swarm is a show that I really love, and Writer Strike is happening. It's only 8 episodes, but if you haven't seen it, I think it is worth a watch. There is a lot to be said about it, but I think worth a watch. But I like the way he tells stories. I just don't. Atlanta just doesn't click for me. I just don't get it.
I
But for
understand that.
me, if you're talking about bingeable shows and
Yes, I
shows
was
that
just
you
about to
can
ask.
continue to watch, Snowfall just finished a 6 season run. I have not watched it since the beginning. I started watching it at the end of March, and I caught up in time to watch the finale last week. So I watched the entire show in about 3.5 weeks. I wore my Boys in the Hood shirt today because John Singleton, and we end the show in the Boys in the Hood era, but John Singleton created the show, so I did wear my Boys in the Hood shirt for y'all today. But I would say watch that. 60 episodes, 10 episodes each season. So you're going to get full thought out seasons, unlike, when they're like 6 episodes and you're like, bro, what's going on here? But I love Snowfall. Obviously, Insecure. If you haven't seen it, all 5 seasons are finished and out. So you could watch that. I'm a huge, huge fan of Survivor's Remorse. It is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's 4 seasons of 10 episodes. It's a comedy, so it's very light. And you can watch like a season in a few hours because it's only 8 and 10 episodes. So if you're looking for a good comedy, I would say that. Um, I have a lot of shows. Honestly, Caleb, do you have any shows on your watch list? Because I have shows that I'm like, okay, I haven't seen this yet, but since the writer strike is happening, I have a couple. Narcos is on my list. The Wire is on my list. Succession is on my list. And there's another one. Now I got to look at my phone. Hold on, y'all. There's another one. I literally was just looking at my thing today. Honestly, Apple TV has a couple things that I want to watch. Apple TV has like 3, 4 shows that I'm kind of just like, let me hop up on there.
Oh, my comedy. Yeah, if anyone wants to watch Ted Lasso, because you
Oh yeah,
haven't,
and you
you
haven't?
already know.
Have you started season 3?
I have, I have.
I haven't.
Uh,
I'm waiting on my dad because me and my dad watch it together, so now I gotta wait on him.
mm. Episode one had me scared, but
Okay,
episode two and beyond,
okay,
the show still has it. Yeah,
okay. I'm excited. But there's a lot of good stuff. Apple TV, honestly, I always am saying that I think it has like it's the underrated streamer. It has a lot
hmm
of really good content. It's just like if you don't have Apple TV, you're just never gonna hear about it.
right.
But I think there's some good shows on there. Swagger, Ted Lasso, Central Park.
I
Truth
heard
be
Loot
told,
was
I
good.
haven't started yet, but I want to watch. You said what's good?
Loot with Maya Rudolph.
Yeah, I want to. So I'm on episode 8, and like Caleb, you know me. Like, if I like a show, I
hmm
finish the show quickly. So
Yeah,
for it to only have 8 or 10 episodes, and I still haven't finished the first season, and I started it like 2 months ago, tells you how I feel about it. To an
right.
extent. I don't dislike it. I just want to like it more
I
than
understand that.
because I think Maya Rudolph is great in it. What's her name? Michaela Jai Rodriguez. Is that her last name? Michaela Jai from Pose. She's in it. She's lovely. Like it's a lot of people who are lovely, and the show is lovely. But I don't find myself um itching to know what's happening next, as opposed
The
to being
next
like, "Oh, I'll
episode.
watch it." It's one of those. I just started Jury Duty, the
I've
freebie
heard
show.
good things.
I just started it today. I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and I like it. I didn't think that I would like it, but I didn't think that I wouldn't. It just isn't necessarily
Mhm.
like the type of show I go for immediately, but I'm enjoying it. It's 8 episodes, so I'll probably finish it, by Wednesday. But I'm enjoying it.
My last thing. You know what show I was excited to watch,
Mm,
was excited to binge,
mm.
but was just disappointed?
What?
South Park.
I feel like
I
I want to do an episode where we talk about these adult cartoons from our children's era time
Mhm.
because I've never been able to get into South Park. And as you know, I've been watching the Boondocks for the first time in my life since your senior year and my grad year. I'm not gonna say the years because y'all ain't gonna know how old I am. But it's been a couple years of me watching it, and I'm only in like I think I just got into season 3. The BET
Mhm.
episodes were great. The unaired BET episodes, fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Fantastic.
especially the one that shaded that man.
Yes.
That was
No, I'm talking about the unaired BET episodes that were about BET when they were airing the show on BET at the
yeah,
time. Those ones,
yeah.
crazy. But but there's something to it. I don't know what it is. These adult cartoons from back in the day, they're important to the evolution of television. I just don't know that I was the target audience for either of them. But
I'm surprised to hear you say that about the Boondocks. But we
I
will
like the
bookmark.
Boondocks. I like it.
Mhm.
This is an episode. See, this is an episode. We're finding episodes as we talk. I like the Boondocks. I just, again, considering they are half-hour episodes and it's a cartoon, I should have been finished the series by now. And it's like, I
Mhm.
like it. I think it's good. I think that there's a lot of like timely episodes. I think it's one of those shows that binging it is hard. But if it had come on, like if I was like an adult, quote unquote, at the time that it was like on and I was watching it once a week, I probably would have done that. But like watching it in isolation, because also like a lot of the like pop culture references of the time, it's past those times. Like it's still funny, it's still relevant, but like
Mhm.
it's not current social critique in the same
Yeah,
way that like I don't know, Insecure had a lot of current social critique. Whereas Boondocks now, it's like I'm watching it a decade and a half later.
right. And even though some do remain true, because that R. Kelly episode
Baby, listen, they could put that on air today and it still held weight.
still hold weight. People are still idiots. But hey, 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 hey. Bookmark this conversation for another episode.
Bookmark the episode. We're gonna come back to it. So now we're gonna talk about the serial killer television shows. We're gonna talk about adult animation. We're gonna talk about, I don't know, I think those were the two for right now. I want to talk about the drug dealing shows, but like I haven't seen enough of them. Because I've only seen all the way through, I've only finished Snowfall. But I've seen episodes of Narcos, I've seen episodes of Power. I watched the first episode of The Wire.
Which, if anybody wants to binge Power, there are like 50 seasons of that show.
There are 50 seasons.
They branched off into.
You know what other show is a drug dealer, but it doesn't get brought up in the conversation because it's a different thing? What was that the one I told you about? Fakes. It's not technically drug dealing because they were just selling fake IDs, but I feel like it still goes in the same world.
They was dealing.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a great show too.
Oh, you know what else is a great show? How to Sell Drugs Online Fast.
I want to watch it. I have like favorited it in my watch list on Netflix, and I have wanted to see it when I was writing that script that I still haven't finished writing. I'm writing a different thing now, but I wanted to see that.
That show is cute and funny.
Okay, I will watch it. I will add that to my list of things to watch. But you know, we are winding down the episode. So this has been the WGA strike. Obviously, just wanted to catch y'all up, let y'all know what's going on. Obviously, depending on how the strike goes, it will impact what our season looks like, which I think this season it'll look like a lot more of what we just said. Let's talk about adult animation. Let's talk about serial killer shows, like talking more case studies, discussing, you know, bringing shows together and having discussions about, you know, comparing and contrasting different shows. Be a little bit more of that because there will be a lot less new stuff to review. I mean, we do still have a couple review episodes in there, but we'll be talking, I think, a little bit more case study, media studies about things as opposed to individual new shows. But with all of that being said, this has been another episode of the No Sleep Till Hollywood podcast. It's your girl, Gaelyn Smith, and you can follow me at GSmitty with 2 T's and 4 Y's on Instagram. And you can follow me on my new TikTok at G_Smitty with 2 T's and 4 Y's on there. And I'll be doing my TV reviews and my industry news breakdowns. And I'll be having my dad get up on there. So, you know, go show me love on TikTok because your girl is trying. We're on the road to 1,000 followers by the end of the year. That's the minimum goal. And we need that. We need that.
And it's your boy, Caleb McDonald. You can follow me on anything with an at symbol at Caleb Subtitles. My favorite platform is Twitter, so go follow me there because that's where I talk the most.
I'm crying. You do love Twitter, and every time I get on Twitter, I just be annoyed. I'll be like, all right, gotta go. Catch me on TikTok. That's where I'll be having fun. And of course, make sure you follow the podcast at nosleepxprod. We have some exciting things coming up. We've been doing some exciting things. Honestly, we should have done an episode where we just were like, hey, y'all, this is what we've been doing the past 6 months. But new stuff is coming. Exciting opportunities are coming. And we're glad that you guys are back for season 2. Until next time, good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I thought I always say one more, but I don't remember what it is.
Good day.
Good day. But until next time, bye.
Bye.